Hello, we're going to go through some of the basic steps in creating a multisim schematic, and we'll start off by finding components. Let's start off by seeing if we can find the my.dot connector. So I'm going to go up to Place and Component. We're going to do a search, and I'm just going to type in my.dot in the function. You could also do it in the component, but we'll start with it here. And it finds the my.dot, and just say OK. And we're going to say OK again, and we'll place it on the page right here. Okay, so that's the my.dot connector. I don't need two of them, so I'm going to delete that one. Let's say that we wanted to find an LED. Go to Place, Component, and another place to find things is to go to the master database. Okay, there's a pull-down window. Select the master database, and then there's different groups of parts. So we want an LED, which would be in diodes. And you can see that there's red and green LED. You can select either one of those and just say OK. And it places that on the part. If we wanted to find a resistor, go to Basic, look up resistor, and there are a number of different values. Let's say we wanted a 4.7K right here. Just double click, put it on the page. If you wanted to rotate that resistor, you right click and you would rotate it by selecting rotate counterclockwise. Yeah, that might have been off the video page. That's fine. If I wanted to put one of these connectors that you see here, this is under Place, Connectors, and On Page Connector. And then you can call it let's say test point 1. Okay, and allows you to place it on the page. That way you don't have to place a wire from a point over here to a point way over there. You just put a reference designator. Let's say that we wanted to find the potentiometer. So go to Place, Components. Let's do it using search this time. And we'll try potentiometer. And you can even put partial part of the word in there. And it did find it right here. There's a few different types. These ones are adjustable, and this is the footprint if you're making a printed circuit board. I'm just going to go up to potentiometer and say OK. And then OK here, place it on the page. If I wanted to add a reference designator, close this first. Double click on here, and the reference designator is X1, and I can call it, for example, 10K. And I've got the part labeled. Okay. You can change the net colors by clicking on the wire, right-clicking, and saying net color. And let's say I wanted it to be this green value. Okay, all of the nets that the net wires that are connected. So this one's going to analog in 0. It's green, and it connects over here to this green wire. Okay, and let's just change that again to purple. All right, so those all represent the net colors. And notice that it changed for this, 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 and analog 1 over here is blue. Let's say I wanted to change it to a different color. This darker green. And now it's AN1 is a darker green, AN1 here is a darker green. I'm just going to delete this. Okay, and then you may want to add ground. So this is ground, and it's in the database of sources. So that's the ground. You could use VCC. Okay, and there are different ground references. There's AC power, DC power, but ground is fine for what we're doing. Okay, we're not going to add it, but it's here. And the push buttons, let's try to find a push button. So right click, place component. We'll actually look for it in here. So under sources, not so easy to find here. So let's do a search and look for just PB for push button. See if that finds anything. That's got too many parts. So let's try more refined search. Maybe cancel the bot. Maybe a search, and maybe let's try typing in the whole word. Yes, it did find some here. So that's normally close, normally open. We are using a normally open in the schematic. So okay, we'll put it on the page. And actually the reason that you see the word key in space here is when you want to actually simulate the push button, you're able to do that by, I think, pressing the push button. Okay. You can press it and release it, and that simulates the operation. Delete that. If you want to add your name like I did up here, it's placed and then text. And I can just type in the word hello if I want to. And I think you can change colors. Might be under font. And yes, you can change the different fonts. And there is a place to change the color, but for now, we won't go into that. How do I change the reference and the labeling of this resistor? Well, let's double click on it. And you can see under label, I typed in the value of current limiting. Under reference designator, I typed in R8. And if you go to value, you'll see 470. And there's a pull down window as well to change it. And tolerance is like the resistor value can be 5% off of its initial value or specified value, or 10%. I'll just put in 5%. And it also comes up on the screen, so that's great. So these are the pull-up resistors, and notice that this one side of the switch goes to ground, the other side is pulled to 5. So if you're not pressing the switch, you're going to get 5 volts. In this one, if you're not pressing the switch, you're going to get, and I actually wanted that to be up. It's a normally open push button. In this case here, it's going to be 0 volts until you press it, and then when you press it, it goes to 5 volts. This is the potentiometer. It's a 10K 10-turn potentiometer. You want to have it so that when you turn the potentiometer, a clockwise direction increases the voltage. Okay, I think this is enough to cover some of the basics of the Multisim schematic. Thank you.